So, good morning. My name is Mark Kevin Banuelas, Bachelor of Science in Criminology student, section Charlie. So for today, let us discuss and compare. Let us compare and contrast the early form of punishment and the modern form of punishment. So today, to study the types of crimes and their punishment, learn that five major types of criminal punishment have emerged. We have the incapacitation, deterrence, retribution. We also have rehabilitation, and the last one we have the restoration. But before we go to the topic, let me discuss briefly first these major types of criminal punishment that emerge. First, we have the incapacitation. Incapacitation, in the context of criminal sentencing, the sentencing philosophy is one of the function of punishment. It involves capital punishment, sending an offender to prison or possibly restricting the freedom in their community, in the community to protect society and prevent that person from committing further crimes. Number two, we have the deterrence. Deterrence is a theory that criminal penalties do not just punish violators but also discourage other people from committing similar offenses. Many people point to the need to deter criminal actions after a high-profile incident in which an offender is seen to have received a light sentence. So number three, we have the retribution. So retribution in the legal world refers to the act of setting a punishment for someone that fits the crime. In other words, an eye for an eye, or do unto others as you would have done unto you. Number four, we have the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is the process of helping an individual achieve the highest level of function independence and quality of life possible. Rehabilitation does not reverse or undo the damage caused by disease or trauma, but rather helps restore the individual to optimal health, function, and well-being. The last one, we have the restoration. So, restitution, the most widely used component of restoration is restitution, because the most obvious way to hold offenders responsible for the injuries they cause is for them to make restitution to the victim. A court restitution order usually requires offenders to pay the fair market offenders to pay the fair market value of the loss to the victim. Now, let's proceed to the topic. And by the way, what is punishment? So, punishment is the imposition of an undesirable or unpleasant outcome upon a group or individual meted out by an authority and context ranging from child discipline to criminal law as a response and deterrent to a particular action or behavior that is deemed undesirable or unacceptable. So now the early form of punishment during the primitive era, we have the death penalty. So what death penalty is a state sanctioned practice of killing a person as a punishment for a crime. The sentence ordering that an offender is to be punished in such a manner is known as a death sentence, and the act of carrying out the sentence is known as an execution. Number two, we have the corporal punishment. So a corporal punishment or physical punishment is a punishment which is intended to cause physical pain to a person when it is inflicted on minors, especially in home and school settings. It's method may include spanking or paddling when it is inflicted on adults. It may be inflicted on prisoners and slaves. So number 3, we also have the mutilation or maiming. So mutilation is cutting off or causing injury to a body part of a person, so that the part of the body is permanently damaged, injured, detached, or disfigured. Now, the modern form of punishment, first we have the forced labor. So forced labor or unfree labor is any work relation, especially in modern or early modern history, in which people are employed against their will with the threat of destitution, detention, violence including death or other forms of extreme hardship to either themselves or members of their families. So number 2, we have flogging. So flogging, also called whipping or caning or beating, administered with a whip or rod with blows commonly directed to the person's back. It was imposed as a form of judicial punishment and as a means of maintaining discipline in schools, prison, military forces, and private homes. And the last one, the last of the list, we have public humiliation. So public humiliation or public shaming is a form of punishment whose main feature is dishonoring or disgracing a person, usually an orphan or prisoner, especially in a public place. So that would be all. And in a conclusion, the punishment during the primitive era was very and really brutal that compared to the modern punishment.